Eala's Middle East swing pays off early as momentum and millions build. Eala may have left Abu Dhabi without a trophy, but she walked away with something just as meaningful for a rising global athlete: validation that her game now belongs on the sport's biggest stages, and a growing reward that reflects it. At the recently concluded Abu Dhabi Open, the 20-year-old Filipina put together one of her most productive weeks on tour, advancing deep in both singles and doubles against a field stacked with established names. The run translated to a combined payout of $45,859, roughly 2.6 million Cuban pesos, underscoring how consistency and competitiveness are beginning to convert into tangible returns for one of Southeast Asia's brightest tennis prospects. Most of that haul came from singles, where Eala reached the quarterfinals before bowing to second seed Ekaterina Alexandrova in straight sets. The loss ended her title push, but the performance still earned her $35,000 and valuable points that keep her firmly inside the world's top tier. Now ranked number 45 in the WTA, Eala continues to prove that her climb is not a flash, but a steady ascent. Her Abu Dhabi campaign did not stop there. Partnering Indonesian standout Janice Tien in doubles, Eala pushed through to the semifinals, collecting an additional share of $21,720 before yielding to the experienced tandem of Teresa Mihalikova and Olivia Nichols. Beyond the prize money, the pairing highlighted Eala's growing versatility, an asset that is increasingly important on the modern tour. The Middle East stretch, however, is far from over. Eala now shifts to an even bigger spotlight as she competes in back-to-back WTA 1000 events, beginning with the Qatar Open in Doha and followed by the Dubai Tennis Championships. These tournaments routinely draw the sport's elite, offering not just higher stakes, but a sharper measure of where a young contender truly stands. In Doha, Eala is already guaranteed $18,300, or about 1 million Cuban pesos, simply by stepping onto the court in the opening round. Waiting for her is a familiar opponent in Czech teenager Teresa Valentova, who handed Eala a lopsided defeat at the Japan Open last season. This time, the context is different: a bigger stage, higher confidence, and a version of Eala that has since logged meaningful wins against top-ranked competition. Win or lose in Qatar and Dubai, the early signs of this swing are clear. Eala is no longer just chasing experience. She is earning her place, match by match, paycheck by paycheck, in the global conversation of women's tennis, and the numbers are finally starting to reflect the journey. Eala's Middle East swing pays off early as momentum and millions build. The desert has a way of revealing things early. Before the heat hardens and the lights dazzle, before the long season grinds down ambition into muscle memory, the Middle East swing often tells the truth about a tennis player's year. For Eala, it told a story of liftoff. In February air that feels both ancient and newly engineered, Eala arrived with a quiet kind of confidence, not loud enough to make predictions, not timid enough to hide intent. The courts were fast, the margins thin, and the calendar unforgiving. Yet match by match, the Filipina left-hander played as if the year had already chosen her side. This was not just about wins. It was about direction. Eala's Middle East run didn't announce itself with fireworks. It built, deliberately, like a song that refuses to rush its chorus. Early rounds carried the familiar tests: opponents with heavier serves, veterans who knew how to turn patience into pressure, younger players chasing the same breakthrough. Eala met them with clarity. Her footwork looked cleaner, her shot selection calmer. The forehand, once a weapon she used in bursts, became a point-ending sentence. Momentum in tennis is a slippery word, often mistaken for streaks or confidence quotes at press conferences. But real momentum is structural. It's when preparation starts showing up in the third set. It's when the tough points stop feeling like negotiations. On the Middle East courts, Eala's momentum had bones. Part of that came from her willingness to play the long game. Rather than chasing flash winners, she trusted patterns. She opened the court with width, finished with angles, and defended with a discipline that frustrated hitters into errors. The surface rewarded decisiveness, but Eala's real edge was composure. When rallies stretched, she didn't rush the ending. She waited until the point asked her to end it. Off the court, the swing mattered just as much. The Middle East tournaments are often the season's first meaningful economic checkpoint. Prize money here doesn't just pad a bank account, it funds belief. Each round one adds not only zeros but options, better scheduling, expanded teams, the freedom to invest in recovery, analytics, and travel without compromise. For a young player still building her place in the sport's upper floors, those earnings are not vanity numbers. They are infrastructure. And Eala's earnings, early in the year, told a story of acceleration. There's a particular confidence that comes when effort finally pays rent. Eala's team has spoken before about patience, about trusting development curves rather than chasing viral moments. The Middle East swing rewarded that philosophy. Points gained translated into ranking movement translated into better draws translated into opportunity. It's a virtuous circle, rare and fragile, and Eala stepped into it with care. What stood out most, though, was her adaptability. Conditions shifted from venue to venue, windier nights, quicker daytime courts, crowds that leaned into spectacle. Eala adjusted without drama. She shortened swings when needed, added height when margins shrank, and never looked married to one identity. In a sport that often punishes rigidity, her flexibility felt like a quiet superpower. There's also the symbolic weight of where she was winning. The Middle East swing has become a crossroads for global tennis, a place where established stars warm up their engines and hungry players announce themselves. For Eala, performing here meant being seen not just by fans but by the ecosystem, sponsors, tournament directors, and peers who begin to recalibrate expectations. Respect in tennis often arrives before fame, and Eala's run earned plenty of it. Yet the most compelling aspect of her early season success was restraint. After wins, there were no grand declarations. After losses, no visible spirals. She treated results as data points, not definitions. That emotional neutrality, learned, practiced, and reinforced, is often the difference between a promising season and a transformative one. The millions building around her name, in prize money, endorsements, and long-term value, are not sudden miracles. They are interest payments on years of work. From junior triumphs to the grind of the tour, Eala has been assembling a professional identity that doesn't rely on noise. The Middle East swing simply amplified what was already there. As the tour moves on, the questions will follow. Can she sustain this level across different surfaces? How will she respond when expectations harden into pressure? What happens when opponents stop underestimating and start targeting? If the early answers from the desert are any indication, Eala won't rush those answers either. She'll build them point by point, paycheck by paycheck, season by season. Momentum, after all, is not a feeling. It's a habit.